Hello everyone and welcome once again in Navakokon Education Society's DBJ College Chiplun. Myself Mr. Arun Jadhav and from Department of Environment Education and Water Security, and we are back again with one more topic from the first lesson. Today's topic is indigenous communities and traditions. In our previous sessions we have talked about population growth, demographic transition, population pyramids, migration of people, rural and urban environmental issues, etc. And today we are going to discuss indigenous communities and traditions. So let us discuss what is meant by indigenous knowledge. Indigenous knowledge is nothing but traditional and local knowledge held by members of given community. So the traditional knowledge that the people have is nothing but indigenous knowledge. This indigenous knowledge is related to the environmental conditions of the community, and this knowledge regarding environmental conditions enable people to survive in those conditions. If we talk about India, then in different parts of India different environmental conditions are there, and this traditional knowledge held by the local people enable them to survive in these environmental conditions. This traditional knowledge can be integrated in teaching so that students can improve their environmental awareness. So through this teaching our students are getting traditional indigenous knowledge through which they can improve their awareness. Now let us talk about why is traditional knowledge important. Importances of traditional indigenous knowledge. Now local people protect local crops because they use these local crops for their various requirements, and as they protect local crops it helps to protect the local biodiversity. So local biodiversity is protected because of traditional knowledge, because local people, local community knows the importances of the plants that they have in their locality, and therefore they always try to protect such plants, and which ultimately helps in protecting biodiversity. Now indigenous methods of seed storage help in conserve genetic diversity. Local people use indigenous methods of seed storage, and these traditional or indigenous methods of seed storage help to conserve genetic diversity. In different regions of India, various methods, indigenous methods are used to conserve, to protect seeds, and these due to which genetic diversity is protected. Indigenous people have the knowledge of edible wild plants that can be used as a food during drought. So local communities are aware of the edible wild plants, means which wild plants can be used as a food, and such plants are useful during drought season. These plants can be used as a food during drought season when regular food crops are not available due to drought conditions. So this is how indigenous knowledge is useful. So here are the traditional methods of seed storage. In various parts of Maharashtra such kinds of pots are used which are made up of bamboos to conserve, to protect the seeds. Here are the earthen pots which are also used to protect seeds in Maharashtra and different parts of India. Now indigenous people understand weather patterns and therefore able to predict cyclones and storms. This is also one more importance of traditional or indigenous knowledge, that indigenous people they can understand weather patterns. They have the knowledge to understand weather patterns, and therefore they can predict cyclones and storms. Traditional knowledge provides sustainable natural resource management system which is driven by beliefs and behavior of human communities and local culture. Indigenous knowledge provides sustainable and natural resource management. Local community always tries to conserve local environment, as this local environment, local plants and animals are useful in their religious activities, so they always try to protect them, to conserve them, and this is how traditional knowledge provides sustainable natural resource management. Now The next point is tribal community. Tribals are known for their unique cultural identities. Tribal people have their unique cultural identities. They are very close to nature. Tribal people are close to nature and they have enormous knowledge of plants and animals. As tribal people are close to nature, so they are having a huge knowledge of plants and animals. These plants and animals have religious, medicinal, and economic importance among the tribals. So tribal people knows the plants which are medically important, medicinally important. They know the plants which are economically important. So all the plants and animals are having medicinal, economic, and religious values among the tribals. One of the example of tribals is the Warlis of Maharashtra, the Warli community in Maharashtra. Warlis, a group of forest tribes, live around 100 kilometers from Mumbai. This community is one of the best example of harmonious relationship between forests and people. Warlis worship nature as a god Hirva, that is green. So Warli people worships the whole nature as a god of Hirva. They consider nature's produce as a Hirva's gift or the nature's gift and not as a fruit of their own labor. In our urban culture, the earning is always considered as a fruit of their own labor, but in Warli community, the nature's produce, they consider this nature's produce as the gift given by Hirva, gift given by nature to them, and not as a gift of their own labor. So this is how Warlis are close to the nature. Now, sacred groves are the best examples of Warlis conservation. Most of the sacred groves are formed by Warli community. Warlis act as a caretakers of nature and not as a exploiters of nature. Warlis act as a caretakers. They take care of nature and natural components. They take things from nature just enough for their basic and immediate needs. So optimum utilization of natural resources is there by the Warli community. They always use natural resources just enough for their needs. They do not overuse them. Warli's community protect trees. They only use twigs and fallen branches of the trees. They do not cut trees for their requirements. They use only twigs and fallen branches of the trees. Warli community or Warli people cut branches only from those trees whose growth will be improved by such a kind of chopping. So Warli community, as told earlier, they do not cut trees. They cut branches of those trees only whose growth will be improved by such a kind of chopping. Warli community always practices organic farming. They always use organic fertilizers in their agricultural practices. They cultivate traditional varieties of crops. So this is one of the important characteristic of Warli community, that they cultivate traditional crops only. They do not use hybrid varieties. And these traditional crops that they use are pest and drought resistant. So this is all about Warli community. Due to forest policies and displacement due to development are some of the factors due to which Warli community is in trouble now. As forest policy is changing, the huge pressure of development is there on our forests. Therefore, Warli community is in trouble. So this is all about one of the important tribal community in Maharashtra, that is Warli. Here are some pictures of Warli painting. Warlis are famous for their paintings. This is one of the example of Warli painting, and this is how Warli people celebrate their different festivals. Now the next point is indigenous community practices. In indigenous community practices of farming, natural resource conservation and environmental protections are there. Indigenous community practices include practices of farming, natural resource conservation, and environmental protection. Bishnois in Rajasthan worship Khezri tree and the black buck. Bishnois is one of the important example of indigenous community. Bishnois are famous for the worship of Khezri tree and black buck. Bishnois are vegetarian. They do not kill any of the animal. And one more example is Devrai is in Maharashtra. Devrai is nothing but a forest patch conserved by the name of God. Beach Bachao Andolan in Himalayan foothills is also an example of such a kind of indigenous community. Actually, it is not the kind of indigenous community, but it is one of the important movement in Himalayan foothills which promotes conservation of seeds. And this Beach Bachao Andolan was led by Vijay Zardari. Here is the picture of Bishnoi community. How are they related to the nature? This is the picture of traditional Chipko movement by Bishnoi. So the original Chipko movement was started by Bishnoi community in Rajasthan, something about 250 to 300 years ago. And this is the picture of Beach Bachao Andolan, and here is the person Vijay Zardari. This is also one more picture of Vijay Zardari in Beach Bachao Andolan. Let us talk about sacred groves. Sacred groves are the forests protected in the name of God. Sacred groves have a religious significance, religious importance, and therefore they are protected by local community. As sacred groves have religious importance, as sacred groves are the forest patches conserved by the name of God, therefore these places are conserved by the local community. In such areas, hunting, logging, grazing, these activities are strictly prohibited, or collection of firewood. So these activities are strictly prohibited in sacred groves: hunting, logging, grazing, collection of firewood. Flora and fauna is worshipped by the local people, because local community they think that flora and fauna in that particular sacred grove is the gift given by that particular god, and therefore they worship flora and fauna found in the particular sacred grove. So this is how flora and fauna is protected by local community in sacred groves. Let us talk about the next point, that is, so here are the examples or the pictures of sacred grove. This is one more picture of sacred grove from Kerala. So this is how sacred groves are one of the important example of conservation of environment. In case of sacred groves, no any legal provision is there. So legally these areas are not protected. These areas are protected by the communities on their own. Importances of sacred groves. Why are sacred groves important? Now sacred groves are important because majority of the sacred groves have ponds and water streams which supply water to the local community and also helps to recharge the groundwater in that area. So sacred groves provide water to the local community and they help in recharging the groundwater level. Sacred groves provide shelter to a number of species of flora and fauna, and therefore biodiversity is protected. So sacred groves provide shelter, provide habitat to the number of wild species of animals and plants, and therefore biodiversity is protected. So these sacred groves protect the areas or the habitats which have been otherwise affected due to habitat destruction and hunting. Now, threats to the sacred groves. Now, what are the threats to sacred groves? One of the important threat is urbanization, growing urbanization, overgrazing, and excessive fuel wood consumption. One of the important threat to sacred grove is urbanization, overgrazing, and fuel wood consumption. One more important threat is visitors, especially those who perform religious practices over there. So some visitors perform religious practices, and these religious practices pose harm to the sacred groves. And one more important thing is changing values. So with our modern lifestyle, the values of the people are changing, and the changing values, cultural and religious beliefs of the people are now responsible for the loss of sacred groves. Now let us talk about some eco-friendly practices by communities in Maharashtra. Maharashtrian community, especially rural people, they follow various practices which are eco-friendly. So let us discuss these practices. First is rural farmers, rural people, they use bullock carts for transportation, and use of these bullock carts prevents emission of greenhouse gases. Our urban areas are continuously emitting greenhouse gases in excessive amount, but rural areas, they are not emitting these greenhouse gases because they use bullock carts for the transportation. Use of insect repellent plants. Rural people use insect repellent plants like marigold, mint, basil, or lemongrass. So these are the insect repellent plants that are commonly used by rural people. Rural people cultivate drought and pest resistant crops. Rural people generally prefer drought and pest resistant crops. Rural people are also trying for multi-cropping and cultivation of leguminous plants, and they always allot a specific area, specific land for watershed. So these are the eco-friendly practices which are used by which are followed by indigenous communities or local communities, rural communities in Maharashtra. So here are the plants which are mosquito repellent. This is a lemongrass, this is mint, this is marigold. So this is lavender. So these are the crops that act as a mosquito repellent or insect repellent, and these crops are generally used by the local community. Now, as the sacred groves are in danger, as there are threats to the sacred groves, we need to protect, we need to conserve these sacred groves. Let us discuss how the sacred groves can be protected, how to conserve sacred groves. First, an important step which is needed to conserve, needed to protect sacred groves is we need to identify locations of the sacred groves, where exactly the sacred grove is located. So first of all, it is important to identify locations of the sacred groves. After identify location, then we have to prepare detailed inventory of flora and fauna. We need to prepare list of the plants and animals found in that particular sacred grove. Then we need to assess the human activities in that particular sacred grove. What kind of human activities are going on? So these activities should also be assessed. Then we need to identify external threats to the sacred groves like cyclones, forest fires, or floods. So these are some of the things that we can do to protect sacred groves. First thing is, it is important to locate the sacred groves. Then there must be a detailed inventory of flora and fauna. Then there must be the assessment of human activities, and there must be the assessment of external threats like cyclones, forest fires, or floods. So this is how we can protect our sacred groves. So this is all about one of the important points from the first lesson, that is indigenous community and traditions, in which we have talked about indigenous knowledge, how is indigenous knowledge important, tribal communities, the Warli community in Maharashtra, indigenous community practices, in which we have talked about Bishnois and Devrais. Then we have also talked about Bij Bachao Andolan in the Himalayan foothills, and in the end we have talked about sacred groves, their importances, threats to the sacred groves, and how can sacred groves be protected. Thank you.